All right, we're back after a bit of a break. This is, I believe, show number 4 today, and show number 5 since last night, providing not continuous coverage, but intermittent continuous coverage, I guess I should say. Hurricane Laura getting very close to landfall.
All right, we're back after
At this
a bit
hour.
of a break.
There's, may have been a little echo there. Anyway, glad to have you guys back with us tonight as we watch this, what'll go down as a historic storm. Hurricane Laura, the 10 p.m. Central update, the 11 p.m. Eastern update just came in. I'll be providing you with the very latest statistics on its location, how powerful the winds are, and when the worst of the weather as it will be making landfall over the next few hours. I do want to give a quick shout out to our friends over on both Facebook and YouTube. Thank you very much for being part of the program tonight. Looks like we've got a pretty good crowd, especially in the world of Facebook, as is oftentimes the case. About 150 people live. If you don't mind a quick like or share of the program. Many of you I was just visiting with during our 8:45 program about an hour ago. Thank you for coming back. If you're new to the program, well, we hope you like it. So be sure to follow the page and hit the subscription bell, or excuse me, the notification bell at the top right-hand corner of your screen to know when we're on. To the YouTube crowd, thank you for being here as well. If you don't mind a quick like, a share, it's always appreciated. And again, if you didn't get notified, make sure you also have hit the notification bell. Let's see, I don't think we do have Don Lozecki in the house. Thank you very much. Do we have a troublemaker in the house? Yes, we do. And I do hope that, let me make sure I do my part to report and remove. Let's get this guy out of here. Don't need any of that. Thank you very much. All right, we're off and running. It's a little after 11 o'clock. Updating the very latest on powerful Hurricane Laura, where the storm really revved up in intensity last night, earlier this morning. It was what we call meteorological bomb, meaning barometric pressure dropped more than 24 millibars in 24 hours. In fact, I think this one dropped closer to 35 millibars during that time frame. All right, here's a look at the latest with the storm. And we'll take you on over to the National Hurricane Center coming up in just a couple of moments. But just want to show you from a functional standpoint what it looks like. This is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery, showing you that very, very well-defined eye. It's not quite as centrally located as it was earlier today. It's now located more on the northeastern side of the storm, but still completely wrapped in convection thunderstorm activity, and that eye wall beginning to make its way onshore now. This is soon to be a landfalling hurricane. It's coming very close, and it is maintaining intensity as well. I'll bring up the stats, and we'll have your radar in just a moment. This is the current location, and as of 10 p.m., and let me bring that update up. This was the location earlier this afternoon. I've got the update waiting to pop into the show. Here it is. Currently, this storm is located not far offshore at all at this point. Bringing up the latest update, the 10 o'clock advisory, 11 o'clock Eastern. It was located 75 miles south of Lake Charles, Louisiana, 75 miles southeast of Port Arthur, Texas. Sustained winds are holding at 150 miles per hour, making this a formidable Category 4 storm. And then barometric pressures come up just a smidge. That's, well, I don't want to be too optimistic. It's at 939 millibar. And it is moving towards the north-northwest at 15 miles per hour. You can see hurricane force winds are coming on shore now. Tropical storm force winds extend a good distance away from the center of that storm. Here's a look at the projected path as of 10 p.m. this evening, Central Time, 11 p.m., just coming in, showing you it's basically going to hug that Texas-Louisiana line. It looks like the worst of the storm surge just on the Louisiana side. of the Texas-Louisiana line, where we do have hurricane warnings in effect from Galveston Bay to central coastal sections of Louisiana. Outside of that, tropical storm warnings do continue as well. And you can see the storm is going to move north and then turn to the northeast, eventually off to the east. By far the worst of the weather happening now and over the next several hours. Once we get into the day tomorrow, the storm will begin to rapidly weaken, but not yet. You are looking at a full intensity category 4 storm. It hasn't lost a punch at all yet. They're issuing tornado warnings all over the place on those bands just to the north and northeast of the main eye wall. The eye wall not on shore yet, but it's getting close. And you can see we've got a multitude of tornado warnings that are in effect. Tornado warning for eastern Cameron Parish until 10:45. This is not uncommon for a landfalling hurricane to be accompanied by several tornadoes. Usually they're not the real big, they're not usually very strong, but again, when you already have tropical storm force winds and you throw in a spin-up tornado, it can cause all types of problems. There's another tornado warning that's in effect here. This is for, let me get the name of the counties here. It's northeastern Cameron, south central Jefferson, and southeastern Calcaseo. I got to work on that one in southwestern Vermilion parishes. And then the one final warning, which is in effect here, this is for Vermilion and Cameron counties as well. So multiple tornado warnings in effect. That storm you can see rotating rapidly off to the north. I say rapidly, about 15 miles per hour. This is pretty steady mover for a landfalling hurricane. If they come slower, you get more rain. Oftentimes it'll knock down on the wind as soon as it makes landfall. But this one, not the case. If it moves faster, it increases the chance for the stronger winds. This one seems to be a pretty decent balance. I think it's going to hold its shape. I think it's going to hold its strength as it does come on shore here over the next few hours to come. Again, the main eye wall not quite on shore just yet. I'll read the latest from the Weather Service coming up. I do want to kind of take a gauge who's on here at this time. Looks like we've got about 145 on the Facebook page. Thank you, and thank you for being here. We've got prayers coming in from Mary Alt. Thank you, Mary. Melanie on here. My family is near Iberia, Louisiana. I'm 1,400 miles away and having severe anxiety. And let me get that on the map. I know approximately where Iberia is. There it is. I do see it on the map. New Iberia. I definitely think they're not going to be in the worst of this, if that helps you. I actually forecasted for Morgan City, Louisiana for a while. Worked for a weather syndication company. It allowed me to forecast for parts of the South and Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas included. And I will say that Iberia, New Iberia, you're not going to have the worst of the storm surge, the winds, or the rain. So rest easy knowing that I think that they're probably going to be okay where they're at. They need to stay on their toes, shelter in place. The catastrophic storm surge will be further west and south. I've got Wendy, Scott, Jenna, Robin, and I'm coming over to YouTube next. We are multi-streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. Mindy on here, Andy, Julie, thank you, David Gully, and then we've got a birthday party, 16th birthday Saturday. Julie, I don't know where you're at. I don't know where the birthday party. Are you in the Ohio River Valley? Help me out here. And then there's Rich Loopy in the house, meteorologist extraordinaire himself, and also a South Carolina, former New York resident. Carla on here, what would make the hurricane a Cat 5? About 7 miles per hour. It's close. This is 150 mile per hour sustained winds with this storm. Cat 5 technically 157. Very close, too close for my comfort. This is a formidable Cat 4. So this is something that is, again, as far as hurricanes are concerned, this is a very strong one. All right, before we get to the latest from the Weather Service, I wanted to check to see who's on my feed over here on the YouTube channel right now. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind a quick like, or also a share. Okay. All right, Matthew on here asking plenty of questions. You say he's in the orange? Okay, Matthew, give me a location of where your dad is, and then maybe I can help you. John on here. George on here. And it sounds like everybody's trying to talk Matthew through this time. If we need a location, and then I can help you. Matthew says, I'm in Port Arthur. Well, let's go back on over to the radar and take a look at the latest with you, and then I will cover the latest statements coming in from the National Hurricane Center. And again, this is a life-threatening event for those that are in that eye wall and those that will be in that eye wall. And so by eye wall, of course, I'm referring to on the radar scan. I'm going to pause it for a moment. So we've got the outer, there's kind of multiple bands setting up around this as you oftentimes get with a stronger hurricane. So you got one band that's out here, you got another band that's here. Let me change the color of my text or my telestration. So these would be still considered outer bands. Okay, this is your main eye wall right there. This is where the devastation will occur. What you're seeing in advance is strong. Again, you've got widespread tropical storm force winds. You've got potentially embedded tornadoes in there. I'm going to go over to our other radar unit in a moment, showing you the extent of the warnings. And let's turn that off. I'm going to turn you back on. And let's take a look at the other radar, where it's got the warnings from this storm. And again, you've got hurricane warnings that are in effect well inland that is accompanied by a tornado watch and active tornado warnings as well. Looks like a couple parishes are missing there. I'm not sure why. It happens sometimes. And see, where's the radar at? It's not there. I'm going to have to reset this one probably. We'll come back on over to it. But again, the yellow area there, that's active tornado watch. You got embedded tornado warnings. You've got a storm surge warning as well, which is very dangerous. That is the most critical part of what we're tracking for you, is what that storm surge will do. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a big one. I think we're talking about huge storm surge flooding out of this storm. I'm going to read the latest from the Hurricane Center. Extremely dangerous Hurricane Laura closing in on the northwest Gulf Coast. Catastrophic storm surge flooding. Extreme winds and flash flooding expected tonight and early tomorrow. We've got a storm surge warning from Freeport, Texas to the mouth of the Mississippi River. Hurricane warning from St. Louis Pass on over to Intercoastal City in Louisiana. Tropical storm warning in effect both on the eastern flank and the western flank of the hurricane. Hurricane watch is in effect for parts of the region, and then we've got the hurricane warning. Hurricane warnings are in effect from Galveston Bay and then all the way over to just south of Morgan City, Louisiana. Let's get into the discussion here. So as of 11 p.m. Eastern Time, the center of the hurricane was located near latitude 29 north and also 39.2 west. Laura is moving towards the northwest at 15. A turn towards the north is expected by early Thursday, later tonight, and a northward motion should continue through the day. A northeastward to east-northeast motion is expected Thursday night and Friday. Yada, yada, yada. It's going to talk about how it's going to track into the Ohio Valley. Maximum sustained winds near 150 miles per hour occurring now, with higher gusts in that eye wall, particularly the northeast and eastern section of that eye wall. That's where the worst of the weather is occurring. Right now, just offshore. Hurricane force winds extend up to 60 miles per hour from the center of the storm. And tropical storm force winds are now 205 miles away from the center of Laura. So it's a big storm. Lots of bad things are expecting to happen. Earlier today, they were using the term conditions will be unsurvivable. Unsurvivable for parts of the storm. I'm going to get into the storm surge next. Okay, with that, let's jump on over. There's the projected track of the storm with the cone of uncertainty. Here's the storm surge map, and they haven't changed this much, but right here in the middle where you've got from near Port Arthur, Texas to Vermilion Bay, 10 to 15 foot storm surge. So that's the ocean, and the ocean level raising 10 to 15 feet above what the ocean normally would be. That does not count the effects of normal tides, and it does not count the effects of breakers and waves above that. So you have this extreme wind machine, you have this very low pressure, the ocean literally artificially raises up 10, 15, and in some cases near, is it Calcasieu? I'm struggling with that name. Calcasieu Lake, 15 to 20 foot storm surge. This is just south of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I think this is the area that is going to see that catastrophic, unsurvivable storm surge. Unsurvivable storm surge with large and destructive waves will cause catastrophic damage. This is not my words. This is coming in from the Hurricane Center. Let me go back one sentence. The deeper water will occur along the immediate coast near and to the right of the landfall location. So the landfall location, as we understand it, is going to be just on the east side of the Texas border. So far southwestern Louisiana is going to get the worst of this. That's where the surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. Unsurvivable, that's their words, not mine. Storm surge with large and destructive waves will cause catastrophic damage from Sea Rim State Park in Texas to Intracoastal City, Louisiana, including, there's the word I have a hard time pronouncing, Calcasieu and Sabine Lakes. The surge could penetrate up to 40 miles inland from the immediate coastline, and floodwaters will not fully recede for several days after the storm. Keep in mind that the storm surge will also be followed by a tremendous amount of rain. Surge-related flooding depends on the relative timing of the surge and the tidal cycle, and can vary greatly over short distances. For information specific to your area, yada, yada, yada. So hurricane conditions are occurring now, and they're going to be exacerbated as that eye wall gets closer to making landfall. So you've seen the radar imagery. You've seen the satellite imagery. I've shown you the warnings. I've shown you the projected path, the verbiage that's being used. This is by far the strongest storm of the last 2 seasons to make landfall. This is going to go down as one of the strongest storms we've seen in the last decade or two. Now, you've got to go back a couple years ago. Of course, we had Hurricane Michael, extremely rare Category 5 storm that made landfall not too far away from Panama City, I believe Mexico Beach, Florida. This is not that far away from that type of magnitude. Again, only about 7 miles per hour away from being classified as a Cat 5, this storm. So that's part of the reason why we are taking this so seriously. And, you know, part of what we do here at Weather Live is, you know, we cover the big events. We cover the strongest of the storms, and that's why we're here right now. Hopefully, hopefully we get good news at the end of the day. Hopefully we find out that everybody heeded the warnings, They evacuated as they're asked to do. Mandatory evacuations in effect across a giant chunk of coast, southwestern Louisiana and southeastern Texas. Some of the cities that will be impacted here, sizable cities. Lake Charles is going to get a big hit, big blow. Beaumont, Texas. Port Arthur, Texas. Now, you're just missing Houston and Galveston, of course, which are huge hubs, but they're going to see a part of the storm. It's just, I think they're going to be spared by far the worst conditions. With that being said, it is about 11:28 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to go back to live radar coming up in just a couple of moments. And again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to come back and visit us again. Just fired this channel back up with Laura yesterday, and we've taken several months off, but we plan on dedicating this channel to higher level events, and we will provide more frequent updates as they become necessary. But if you're on YouTube, thank you for being here. Be sure to give me the thumbs up, and I want you to come back, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. Maybe consider hitting the notification bell. Let's check in with our Facebook crowd. We are multicasting this over to Facebook and YouTube right now. Joanne Fahey, Mary Perrion, I've got Frank Williams. Hello. I remember you from your time in Louisville, Kentucky, watching you from the island of Luzon here in the Philippines. Frank, well, hopefully your weather is much quieter than they're seeing in the Gulf right now, and thank you, by the way, for checking in. Be sure to come back. Benjamin, we pray for all the people that will be safe. God bless all. Benjamin, thank you for being here, and thank you for your prayers. Mary is in Connecticut right now, calling for bad storms with high winds. You're going to see some thunderstorms, Mary. You know, tornado threat, it's pretty low, but we'll watch for you. Susie on here. Hey, I have a question here. They are taking temps of people before they board a bus, etc. So, what happens to the people that had a temp? Leave them behind to die? Yeah, right, Susie? Great question. I mean, you're really worried about quarantining when you have a Category 4, almost Category 5 hurricane. That's one of those things that I don't understand. I don't get that. I don't understand that. It's funny. You mentioned that, and I'm reminded from some of my school visits during my my broadcast television days, I should say. I'd go around to schools, and of course, you teach them about hurricanes and tornadoes and flooding and all the different natural disasters that weather can bring you. And you would always get the kid that would ask the question, but what if you're in the ditch and it's flooding and there's a tornado coming? Or do you hang out in the flooded ditch and possibly drown? Or do you come up above and possibly get swept away by the tornado? Now, in that case, that kid had a point, because the flooding can kill you and the tornado can kill you. Your chances of dying with the coronavirus, much less. I'd say don't worry about the temperature. Get out of the way of the catastrophic, unsurvivable storm surge and severe winds, and don't worry about the Rona. That's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I am a meteorologist. Thanks for asking. All right, let's see, back over to the YouTube channel, and then we'll get you updated on radar, satellite, and the latest coming in from the National Hurricane Center. All right, so on the YouTube channel right now, we've got Dee Dee, we've got Matthew. It's Calcasieu. Thank you, Matthew. Calcasieu is the name of the lake. And I don't know if there's a town associated with that lake, but it's in the bear's cage. This is where the worst of the weather will be occurring. Calcasieu. Thank you. He did. He phonetically broke that down for me in a way that I could understand. That says a lot. So, okay, appreciate that. I just brought up just a regular old Google map. We're going to utilize this during this program here. And there's a good reason for it. Give me a moment. I'm going to try to get my other radar unit to reboot. Okay. And with that, again, looking at the WRF hurricane model, it's maintaining its intensity through landfall. Landfall probably looking for the actual eye wall to come on shore, still looking a little ways away. Maybe another hour or two before it begins to come on shore. I do not have aspirations of staying on throughout the entire thing, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Right now, I know it's important. You still have some people that are up. I'm really hoping that whole area got evacuated like they should. That's my hope. We will see in time. I am going to try to bring you up a live picture, though, from what's happening in the middle of this thing. And give me a moment. I'm booting my other radar and see if I can get it to behave okay. Anybody know, oh, Paul. What is Paul's last name? He's the, I have to look him up. He's the creator of this radar, WSV3. When it works, it's really good. The problem is, oftentimes it doesn't work. It's frustrating. You know, you pay a premium for some of these softwares, and you expect them to work. At least that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, so I'm going to come back over, and again, we've really narrowed down where we feel like this thing is going to come on shore. Obviously, just an hour or two away from landfall, we have a pretty good idea. But with that, I want to take a look at some of the terrain, some of the area, and then I'll also try to bring up that live picture coming up here in just a moment. But this is that area where, you know, there's a lot of territory. There's some good news here. A lot of this area is swampy. It's very rural. So there aren't too many big population centers. Port Arthur is the closest one to the coast. Fortunately for Port Arthur, I think they're going to be just to the west side of the storm. So they're not going to get the worst of the storm surge. So if the storm comes on shore here, this is where the worst of the storm surge will be. Like that. Into those bays, inlets, and lakes. Port Arthur, I mean, you're in bad shape because that eye is going to move very, very close to you, but you're probably going to remain on the western flank. That'll be helpful. Lake Charles will not. Lake Charles will not be under the western flank. And I'm doing some math here. I'm trying to figure out how far it is from Lake Charles to the actual coast. But Calcasieu Lake, this thing could fill up with water. We're talking about, this is the area where they're looking at a 15 to 20 foot storm surge. So here's my fear. And I may not be too far off in thinking that this could occur. And I'm doing some rough math here, figuring out the distance between Lake Charles and the coast. And man, you're within striking distance. So you get this terrible storm surge flooding. It's going to inundate. The town of Cameron is going to be gone. There will be nothing left. But man, you could get storm surge flooding that comes right over this bay, over this lake, I should say, and that can carry all the way up to, what is this tributary, whatever this river, that can go way up into Lake Charles. I think parts of Lake Charles is going to be in trouble. I think parts of Lake Charles is going to be underwater, maybe a considerable amount of water. If you go further east, you're okay. Lake Pontchartrain, I don't think this is a big deal for New Orleans. I don't think this is a huge deal for Morgan City. You're going to get some storm surge flooding, a little bit of wind. Somebody was talking about Iberia, New Iberia. I think you're okay. Man, once you get in here, and it's, you know, south of Lafayette, but really it's this area south of Lake Charles. And again, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, this area here is the area that I'm very concerned about. And that's where the focus has been and will continue to be as the storm makes landfall. Now, the other part of this is that I'm really, really hoping that we do see, you know, we do see that everybody heeded the warnings. They took the evacuations and they got out of there. Because those areas that, some of those areas would just be wiped out completely. Some of those little villas or towns right on the immediate coast could be completely wiped clean, wiped away. All right, Frank Williams on here. It was when, okay, I jumped into a conversation, it looks like. Okay, so on the news, some people decided to stay and ride out the storm. Not sure if it was Texas or Louisiana. Not a good decision, in my opinion. And Ro, I really think that depends on the location. You know, keep in mind, Louisiana is a big state. Keep in mind, Texas is an enormous state. What part? These are the areas that we're trying to identify. These are the areas that I've been showing you where the threat is the greatest. And if you're in that eye wall, especially on the northeastern or eastern side of the eye wall, you're host. This thing is getting very close to coming on shore. Now you can see the last few frames. That eye wall, I mean, it's almost there. Cameron, you've got to be seeing some extremely windy conditions. If my other radar is working correctly, I should be able to produce some buoy information, and we can get real-time storm reports. I'm going to try to turn them on. We'll see. Again, we're tethered to our technology, but let's see if the buoys are going to turn on. Turn on the buoys. All right, I'm getting some buoy information. This is good. I can share this with you in just a moment. I'm not getting my radar yet. Where'd it go? Frustrations of a meteorologist. All right, so we are getting some buoy information. I'm going to check this stuff out. I'm going to probe the buoys. And it looks like we are seeing sustained winds, 45, 50 miles per hour along the coast right now. I'll show you that over on our other radar unit where they do have warnings all over the place. Again, my radar, it's got the location right, but it's a tropical storm icon. That drives me crazy. I've got to get a hold of this pole guy and be like, dude, you got to update your product. That's not right. All right, we've got tornado watches in the yellow. Those are active tornado warnings in the red. I'm turning all that off. I just want my tropical information on. Let's get, okay, so we got the watches warnings. There we go. All right. Okay, so these are more active warnings. Do we have any flooding yet? I don't see any at the moment. But we do have the active warnings. And then let's see on the tropical, see if I can get, okay, so there's the best fit. I'm gonna turn off the spaghetti plot. So this is where they're bringing it on shore. Okay, so Cameron, you're kind of right in the middle of that. Over to Port Arthur. So the cone takes it from Lake Charles to Port Arthur. Again, I think Lake Charles is primed potentially for severe storm surge flooding. We do have active tornado warnings that are in effect. I'll come back over to live radar in a moment. Should be able to get a live radar here. Let me see the sites. What do I have? Yeah, I'm going to take this right out of Lake Charles. As I understand, the National Weather Service out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, said they're out of here. They're not taking any chances. They've abandoned shop. I think that's a wise move. They're not trying to tough it out. The National Weather Service left Lake Charles. It's that bad. And they've delegated their duties to Brownsville, Texas. And I am not getting this radar to turn on. So we are going to abandon that radar. We're going to go back to our, well, this one. This one's steady. This is GR Level 2 Analyst Radar for those that are interested. If you're a hobbyist or a freelance meteorologist, you're looking for software, I recommend our friends over at Gibson Ridge. And this particular product is GR Level 2 Analyst Radar. There's all types of really cool things you can do. In fact, I'm going to show you one of the tools right now. Why? Because, well, we're not tethered by time. I can stay on here as long as I want. So here you go. This is a 3-dimensional polymetric view of the storm. Wait, can you see that? You may not be able to see that. Let me pull it in. You can see it in a minute. Add source, screen capture, window capture, Volumetric Explorer. There we go. Now you can see what I see. This is really handy for thunderstorms, but you can get a general sense of just how tall the convection goes, and that convection rises all the way up to 50,000 feet. The core of the worst is down around 30,000 feet. But again, again, this is a volumetric view of the eyewall associated with Hurricane Laura. And yeah, very, very well defined eyewall that is. All right. How come you're still on there? I thought I got you to go away. I did not. Oh, excuse me there. Part of my dinner. Boy, aren't we getting personal around here. All right, new tornado warnings are coming out now. You can see on the northern side of the storm. Oops, I keep producing, don't need to do that, I want to do that. All right, so you can see that eyewall getting so close, so close. And all of this is moving north. The movement is north right now. I'm going to take a look and also see if we can't get that live feed, which I'm hoping to get up. I would like to be able to share with you a live feed from the location. Let's see. Let's go live feed. You see what is available to us. Live picture. Let's see what we've got. All right, we do have a picture up. This is, where is this from? Not a very great picture, but it's an okay picture. All right, so we've got, it looks like several pictures to show you. Let's take a look at this.
Thank you very much. Exclamation point. I have passed this along to a couple of people that help me out, period.
Obviously, with the chaser. We got camera location, camera
thank you very much.
That should be the worst location camera,
Thanks
which
for letting
is
me
the
know.
top right hand
Thanks to you as well.
So we got Shreveport, Grand Isle, Port Arthur, a couple of locations in Port Arthur. Looks like you're getting live winds, 62 mile per hour wind gusts, just reported out of Johnson, Bayou, Louisiana.
Yeah, I think the air pressure sensor.
See if I can get a better picture for you coming up in a couple of moments. All right. Well, that's good. It's good to know that we have an option there. What else do we have? I'd like to go to maybe Port Arthur. All right, here's a picture. I think we're going to go to Galveston, maybe. All right, here you go. This is Galveston. We were looking at this picture earlier. It's a pretty good camera. This is what Galveston looks like. And keep in mind, Galveston's not going to see near the storm that they will south of Lake Charles and closer to Port Arthur. That's where the worst of it's going to occur. But this is what's occurring now in the Galveston area. All right, with that, checking in with our YouTube crowd. Modest crowd, we've got Joe on here. Tell those storm chasers to get out of Port Arthur. It's in the middle of an Everglade. I think they do need to be careful, and they need to have escape routes. They need to be set up near highways that run away from the coast. So I agree, Joe, to a degree. If they know what they're doing, I think that's a decent location as long as they have a way out. Joe says Arthur is on a large, shallow, brackish pond. Yep. Okay. Don says we had an echo. Did we have an echo again? Probably did. You know, can't. Just it happens sometimes. Echoes happen. They're part of life. When you don't have a tech guy, they happen quite frequently too. So live look at Galveston. If I can get a better or another camera that's closer to where the storm is making landfall, I will go to that. But for right now, we'll hold on this. It's a pretty good picture. In Galveston, kind of a glancing blow. I know they're under a hurricane warning. I think they'll see hurricane force wind gusts, but again, storm surge, as we've been talking about, for Galveston just won't be. It just won't add up. And that's a great thing because Galveston, Houston, as you know, these are urban sprawls, and the amount of people that would be impacted would just be terrible. So we'll take this. We Calcasieu Lake though, not good, not good. So many people. I should say, so much water. Hopefully, not many people at all. All right, so we have a little discussion on the Facebook. Talking to Robin. Is that Robin Kuman in the house? I just don't understand how tornado structures can hold up within a hurricane. Don't you need hot air and cold air running into each other to create a tornado? Isn't it all the same temperature and the same wind direction in a hurricane? So confused. Robin Kuman, great friend. And Robin, let me read Jonathan's response, see if I agree. Jonathan says that hurricanes are purely warm core systems. True. And the directional wind shear they create is what spins up the tornadoes. True. Look up Lewis Fry Richards. Who's Lewis Fry Richardson? I'll quote him. Big whirls have little whirls that feed on their velocity. Sounds like good reading, actually. And little whirls have lesser whirls, and so on, called viscosity. And I actually got to study some viscosity and other atmospheric dynamics during my time at old Purdue University. But Robin, good question. Jonathan is correct. And it's the same sort of thing when you have like a what they call a multi-vortex tornado. Consider the hurricane the parent tornado, the eyewall the parent tornado, but then within that you can get these other vortices that occur. So basically you have one big vortice, and within it you can get little tiny ones. Well, the combined effect, and it's interesting how these dynamics work, and there's mathematics behind how this works. So in determining the overall wind speed, which is all that matters, it doesn't make a difference if you get hit by a vortice, subvortice, or whatever it is, or just the main vortice. All that matters is total velocity. In total velocity, it's an interesting math because it's not just the swirl, the big swirl, the eye, how fast it's rotating. It's what side of the eye are you on. You see, the storm's moving north at 15 miles per hour. So if this thing is rotating, say it's rotating at 135 miles per hour, which I think it is, which is how they're coming up with 150 mile per hour top sustained winds. But wait, you just said that it's rotating at 135, so how are you getting a 150 mile per hour sustained wind? Well, it's easy. Because while it's rotating at 135, it's moving at you at 15. So 135 plus 15, if you're on the right side of that eye wall, equals 150. Now you add on that and you get one of those subvortices. Well, that's a different story. You got to add that up too. That's a calculated math. Okay, but this stuff is real. It's happening. I only have a smile on my face because I'm hoping that I'm hoping, I've done my prayers hoping that they evacuate. Anybody with common sense would evacuate in this area. I also know that this is a very, it's a very sparsely populated area. It's very rural in nature. So hopefully, with God's grace, we can get out of this thing without a massive loss of life. But Jonathan, thank you for being here for this discussion. Joanne Fahey, Weather Channel, has been reporting on unsurvivable conditions make me so sad for those who stayed behind. I'm not so sure many people did. I don't know for a fact. And let me show you where the unsurvivable locations will be. I think Cameron, Louisiana will be unsurvivable. Let me get some more locations up here. Cameron, Louisiana will be unsurvivable. Holly Beach, which is next to it, will be unsurvivable. Creo, possibly. Grand Chandler, possibly. But let me look up the populations of these places here. So let's go. Cameron. Cameron, Louisiana is it's a census designated place in the parish seat of Cameron Parish, Louisiana. Population, 400 people. Well, that's 400 people. I think they left. I don't think there's that many. I hope they left. I hope they left. You never know. You have some knuckleheads, you know. It doesn't make a difference where you're at. You do have knuckleheads. So let's hope they heeded the warnings. Creo, Louisiana. Is it even a town? It's unincorporated. They don't even have a population. I think the population of Cameron includes Creo. Regardless, both of them are underneath tornado warnings. Let's investigate for wind. I'm going to go on over to, oh, that's an ugly radar signature. Ugly, ugly, ugly. And I don't mean that's for the tornado. I mean, it just makes it very difficult to discern what's happening. Yeah, there's a lot of wind. I can tell you that. These vortices are almost invisible to regular storm relative velocity. There is that much velocity going on. But there's a reason. They put them in advance. They cannot put out exactly where it's at. That's why these warnings are so large. There's a warning that goes from Holly Beach all the way over to, well, shoot, that extends all the way over. Is that Morgan City almost? New Iberia almost? But again, there's not a tornado in that whole area. They're just covering. They don't know where, but one could spin up. So they cover the whole area. Anyway, that eyewall is getting closer, though. You can see that. I'm going to take another look at that live picture coming up. Taking a look at my other radar source and see if I have it functional. Probably not. I'm going to have to call Paul. Forget his last name. Paul needs to fix his gear. He needs to fix it. Alright. You pay for this stuff. You expect it to work. Alright, we've got Modest Crowd on YouTube. Thank you for being here. If you're not ordinarily here, please come back and hit the subscription button. Notification bell as well. James on here. This is great, Jeremy. Thanks. You're welcome, and thank you for being here. Many of those residents would not have left. It's part of the culture, says James. Oh, James, I hope you're not right, because I agree with the Hurricane Center. Unless you're in an elevated bomb shelter, you're not going to survive this. Probably not too many elevated bomb shelters in that part of Louisiana. Probably not. Tamian, I saw a video of the $1 million homes in Port Charles, and they were using inflatable dams. That's not going to hold up, is it? Inflatable dams. It sounds like, no, that doesn't sound like that would work at all. No, I mean, you got to sandbag that stuff. No, it's not. Jacob Gooding, one of our, he's one of our moderators. Thank you for being here, Jacob. I've got Howard Stern in the house. Probably not the Howard Stern, but Howard Stern, needless to say, is here. Any storm chasers in Cameron, I left my door open and need to stop by. All right. Well, we'll see. I'm going to try to look for some more live pictures for you as well, and see if there's any new information coming in from the National Hurricane Center. This is the way it looks out in Galveston, and well, it's gusty. You can see a lot of white capping out there. That wind in Galveston, however, should be coming out of probably east or northeast as that storm is roaring in. We will continue to monitor. Meanwhile, over on the Facebook page, let's see what we've got going on. You're welcome, Ro, and thank you for being here. I'm hoping that we get to see you maybe out on Saturday at the meet and greet. Robin says, I can't imagine what people are going through if they stayed physically and mentally. Well, you know, it's one thing if it was a Cat 1 or even a Cat 2, you know? There's a big difference between sustained winds of 75 miles per hour and what this one's producing, 150. About twice that. Big, big difference. Amy Lee Yates, I think I'll see you Saturday. Look forward to that. Caleb Routes, he's talking geometry, folks. No, it's dynamics. Oh, that's right, it's both. Angular momentum, my friends. Jonathan, Galveston and Houston dodged this bullet. Just imagine if they were going to be in the eye or the onshore flow. Laura would have outdone Katrina. You know, well, Galveston Bay, man, they're very vulnerable based on their position on the coast, elevation. You go back to the great Galveston hurricane of, was it 1908, 1900? It was, and still to this day, the deadliest hurricane of all time in the United States. Renee, thank you for being on here. She says she misses me in Kentucky, but you can still pick me up in Kentucky. That's why you're on my Facebook page right now, right? Renee, thank you for being here, and I appreciate the thought. Yep, you betcha, you betcha. We're happy to do it. Okay, June on here, praying for the people that are in the eye of the storm. Hope everyone gets out safe. Absolutely. Again, the storm ramped up very, very quickly. So we too are very much hoping for the best. For the people that are in and around the storm, hopefully they took those mandatory evacuation orders seriously. This is the biggest problem. Again, Galveston Bay, you're going to dodge a bullet. 2 to 4 foot storm surge. 1 to 3 foot for New Orleans, the mouth of the Mississippi, Lake Pontchartrain. In between that, we've got problems. So, including Calcasieu Lake. Look at this, 10 to 15, Calcasieu Lake. 20 foot storm surge. I mentioned this just a little while earlier. I think there's an area, including just south of Lake Charles, that could get absolutely hammered by storm surge flooding. And I think that this is an area that's got a pretty decent population. What is the population of Lake Charles? Find out. Lake Charles, Louisiana is home to, give me a second, 78,000 people. 78,000 people. Okay, I think most of them are going to be just fine. Probably a decent percentage of them left. But I think south part of the city especially, I think could be in trouble. And here's why. So I'm going to go back over to the map. There we go, looking up I don't know where my map went. Here it is. Back. Oh, where's my map? I don't even have a map anymore. Alright, there, we're looking at Creole for some reason. Alright, so Lake Charles, located, back, right here. So we talk about storm surge flooding. We're talking about the topography, the geography, the physical geography of this area. and it's all lowlands. It's marshlands, as several people have pointed out. It is, which is good to me. It means it's pretty sparsely populated. However, it's not all sparsely populated. And then we're looking at Lake Charles, and then there's Calcasieu Lake right here. This lake is going to become part of the ocean soon. The ocean waters will rush in and inundate the lake. Okay? All of this is part of the storm surge. This storm surge could rush in up to 40 miles inland. And guess what? I'm doing the math right here, old-fashioned way. Give me a second. Do the math here. 40 miles inland. I mean, I'm literally drafting here. Wait, is there a better way to do this? I'm sure there is. And I'm just not thinking of it. Oh, measuring tool. Measuring tool. Point is, Lake Charles is within range of the storm surge. The storm surge, which looks like it's a pretty good distance, the ocean a pretty good distance away, could easily come right up Calcasieu Lake up into that tributary, and this could funnel its way right on in to Lake Charles, at least the south part of town. That could be underwater, and then you throw in some very high winds and wave action on top of that, and you're talking about a real problem. All right, it's midnight. I'm going back over to radar next, checking in, see who we have with us. Got a decent little crowd going still on Facebook. Thank you very much for being here. We've got some peeps over on the YouTube channel, which I've been working on here. Been very active over the last 24 hours, and we appreciate you being here. We want you to come back. So be sure to hit the subscription bell, or be sure to subscribe, I should say, and then hit the notification bell. We only come on for the worst of the weather on this YouTube channel. The worst of the weather nationwide. And that certainly includes a landfalling Category 4 hurricane. And strong Category 4 at that. The eyewall is now beginning to make its way onshore. Very, very close. You can see it combining with those outer bands. The worst of the wind, man. It is right there. I'm going to scan up, scan up, scan up. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. And let's see what the velocities are doing here. If I take a look at these velocities, get this. Now, we're scanning up in the storm. What height am I looking at here? So, looking up into the storm at about 12,000 feet, and I see widespread 120 mile per hour winds on both sides. Let's bring it down a little bit. Coming down in the storm, and now we're looking at about 6,000 feet, where I'm looking at widespread 70, 65, 70 knot winds. 130 mile an hour winds right now on the west side. That's elevated at 6,000 feet. Let's bring it down to the lowest level. Again, looking at velocity scan here, and let's go on over to radio velocity, where I'm going to put this into motion too. I think I gave it too many commands. It's going to think about it for a minute. There it is. It's moving. Okay, watching that eye, you can see that eye churn and very, very clearly. Echo tops. In the storm getting closer and closer. You can very clearly see the eye wall with this echo top. That's where those yellows and the oranges, the tallest thunderstorms, all wrapping around and rotating around that storm. All of that. Okay, and you can see it's getting closer to the radar site. Lake Charles, the National Weather Service out of Lake Charles, abandoning their post. Why? Because they were told to. They were given a mandatory evacuation, and hopefully the rest of the population heeded that warning as well. Let's look at inrots, see if they're showing up. That's a normalized rotation. Yeah, oh wow. Okay, so these are these little bands where they're probably issuing a lot of those tornado warnings on. Anywhere you see these little squiggly lines talking about vorticity, talking about viscosity, talking about the wind shear factor. And whenever you have an extreme storm, you get extreme dynamics. And that's exactly what we're seeing. In the case of a hurricane, it makes no difference whether hot and cold air, like you oftentimes need for good old-fashioned supercell thunderstorms. That's not what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with, regular old-fashioned supercell thunderstorms. We are dealing with a massive hurricane. Two-way different things. But hurricanes can and oftentimes do produce spit-up tornadoes. It's just the way it works. All right, we've got Quaalude Charlie on here. Catastrophic major hurricane. I can't even read this guy's handle. Good point, Joe. Joe's been adding some pretty good commentary over on the YouTube channel. That surge is going to be 10 feet deep, 10 miles inshore. Yeah, it will be at least 10 miles inshore, I would say, in some areas. Wind should blow the tide out of Galveston. I agree, Joe. Joe, are you a meteorologist? He is. He makes a lot of sense in what he's talking about. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for the commentary and thanks for helping with the program. Ingrid on here survived Hurricane Maria. I lived through what they are going through now. Just pray, pray, pray. Ingrid, thank you. Getting closer and closer to that eye wall. Let's take you back out to Galveston, shall we? And then I'll look for another camera. Here's Galveston live. Yeah, not in the worst of the storm by any stretch. Whoa, that's not Galveston. That's not Galveston. This is Galveston. There we go. All right. Obviously, Galveston is not in terrible shape. They won't be. As mentioned, it looks like they dodged one. They dodged a pretty good bullet here. Here's the satellite perspective. Oh, that's such an angry storm. Angry. But look here. Okay, this is interesting. Notice the last few frames. That eye is getting more ragged. It wasn't quite as symmetric. It's not quite as symmetric as it was even just an hour ago. And so this is where we're probably seeing a little bit of frictional force coming in. This is interference from land. So right as the eye nears land, it'll begin to get the effects of friction. You see, land, all else being equal, is much more rough for air to travel over than is water. And so the frictional effects can begin to affect the circulation. We can hope and pray that this is the beginning of the weakening phase of this hurricane. Again, it topped out about 2 hours ago at 937 millibar. Very, very low. Category 4, that would be borderline Category 5 in many books. But they bottomed out about 2 hours ago. And as of this past hour, 11 o'clock, they measured 939. So the central pressure came up just a little bit. It's not enough. But if what I'm seeing here on satellite is true, and we are beginning to see some frictional effects, then we may be able to tame or tone this thing down just a little bit, a tiny bit, as it's making landfall. It still doesn't matter. This is unsurvivable for Cameron, for those little towns right along the immediate coast. They're not likely going to come out of this in good shape. But we can hope, again, that what we're seeing here is maybe a gradual weakening. Let's take a look at water vapor. Water vapor, it's showing the same story. Where again the eye is looking just a little bit more ragged. So, all right, there's something to be hopeful about. All right, well, that could be good. I hope that's good. This is the main threat area: storm surge, flooding. Again, up to 20 feet. That's insane, and that's awful dangerous. It's terrible, terribly dangerous for those areas that are involved. Let's show you the track. This is the latest from the Hurricane Center, moving it just to the east of the Texas-Louisiana border, which means that Port Arthur will be just on the west side. They're going to take a hit. They're going to get some really bad winds, but maybe, just maybe, they will survive the worst of the winds. See if we got any more live pictures out there. All right, let's see. What do we have? Live pictures. What's available? All right, let's see. This is from earlier. It's Galveston. I'm not going to show it. We've already seen it. I want live. Where's my live? There we go. All right, we got a chaser that's out there. Should we take a look? I think this is the chaser we were... Oh, well, we may have a feed from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Let's see what we got. Let's go live to Lake Charles. All right, it's not perfect. It's somebody's security system, but let's check it out.
I'm gonna look for National Weather Service.
Sounds like we're getting some moderation here too. Whoops. And again, this is Lake Charles. Well, I don't know what part of town. Okay, I see. So the camera's in Lake Charles. In the Moss Bluff area, but he has moved himself to Baton Rouge. Okay, cool. But again, they're a couple hours away from seeing the worst of their weather. But it's still cool to see that. All right, very good. I'm gonna make sure people are aware that I have a live stream going. Give me a second while I forward this here. Oh, Matt, okay. Is this the same camera there, Jacob? Thank you. Oh, I see what you're doing. I like that. Okay, let's take Jacob's camera. It's better. Also on Lake Charles, but it's a bigger camera. Oh, what I do? What am I doing to you guys? That is the question.
I'll shrink it down.
We'll get that other feed turned on.
Although environmental conditions are not expected to be conducive for development during the next couple of days, they are forecast to gradually become more favorable over the weekend and into early next week when the wave moves into the...
He's got the weather service going.
Atlantic.
All right.
Chance through 48
That's
hours
good.
is low, near 0%, and formation chance through 5 days is low
Rain.
at 20%.
We're looking at sheets of rain.
A tropical storm warning remains.
Yeah, they're not quite in it yet. Again, Lake Charles. Whoops. I'm back. Lake Charles is up here. And they've just got some outer bands going on. I mean, the real story is, well, it's happening right on the coast right now. You've got that eyewall. It's about to come on shore right now. See those echotops again. And we might be looking at an eyewall replacement. I think that's what we're seeing here, where you've got this diminishing return in the middle. This could help. If we see this trend continuing, it would mean that the eye wall may be breaking down a little bit as it's coming on shore. I hope that's what we're seeing. That would be huge. We'll come back to that picture if needed. Thank you very much, Jacob. Jacob Gooding, one of our moderators on the YouTube channel. I appreciate that very much. So that's good. We've got that up and running. What else did I want to look at here? The last time was hit by a major hurricane was Marco. The last major hurricane to hit, I believe, was Rita. That's Hurricane Rita, if I remember. Hurricane Rita was same year as Katrina. Rita, Katrina, Rita, Wilma. There was one more. Maybe there wasn't, but I think all three of those at one point were Cat 5s. It was an amazing season. They didn't come ashore as Cat 5s, thank God. But we're looking at a strong, formidable Cat 4 now, Aiden. Rita, it may have came ashore as a Cat 4. I don't remember. Rita was a Cat 3 at landfall, says Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Okay. That was a while ago. So what year was Katrina? Is that 08? 08? Years of, no, 05. That was 2005, wasn't it? Yeah, because the seasons of 2004 and 2005 were phenomenal hurricane seasons. All right, if you're on the YouTube channel and you're new, please come back and please subscribe to the channel. And if you don't mind, a quick thumbs up as well while you're at it. It's always helpful. Taking a look at my Facebook feed here. And it looks like some people are beginning to nod off, maybe going to bed. I might be doing the same thing here shortly, so may not run with this too much longer. It is technically making landfall, I would say, starting now. But again, it's a gradual process, and we may be looking at an eyewall replacement happening right now. 05 says Morgan. 08 was Dolly, and it hit Harlington, Texas. Is that right? Well, Harlington, right? I don't remember. Andy talking about Reed Timmer Extreme is in the parking garage. It's actually a very good place to document landfall and hurricanes. A lot of people don't know that, but a parking garage is an excellent place. Filled with concrete, and it's steel, reinforced concrete, and oftentimes you got multiple decks. So in order to avoid the storm surge, you go to the second deck. You have to go to the third deck, you're in trouble. Joanne says, phone's dying. Night, everyone. Joanne, thank you as always. Thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Let me check over with our friends over at the National Hurricane Center, see if we have any new information to report to you. And I don't know if they may have an intermittent advisory. Sometimes they do. They haven't had anything since updated as of 11 p.m. midnight Eastern Time. Updated statement coming in from the Hurricane Center right now. As of 11 p.m., the eyewall of Laura nearing the coast of Louisiana. Catastrophic storm surge, extreme winds, and flash flooding expected tonight and early Thursday. Had a weather flow site in Cameron recently reported a sustained wind of 41 miles per hour, gust 67. Calcasieu Pass recently reported sustained of 50 with a gust of 70. And these things, it's going to ratchet up real fast. They're reporting winds of 150, and now they're reporting minimum pressure of 938, so holding steady. It does look like it's holding steady. I'm hoping it comes down a notch. We'll see. But holding steady, it looks like it is. All right. With that, let's see. Again, I've got the live feeds we can show you. I'm going to go back over to our feed. We'll go back to Lake Charles and then Galveston coming up next. All right, and whoop, there you are. Okay, here you go.
And thunderstorms
And we get some weather service. Weather radio.
Tuesday, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms. highs in the lower 90s. Tuesday night, mostly clear. Lows around 80.
Pretty good stream. You see that? This guy's whoever's running this stream.
With a 20% chance of showers.
Got 1,000 people live right now. We're watching them. I guess we're one of the 1,000.
Forecast for the following coastal location, Galveston Bay.
All right, let's go. Speaking of Galveston,
In effect. Rest of tonight.
that's Galveston. All right. Yeah, that is they'll miss the worst of it. Galveston is mentioned. They're looking pretty good. You can see they're well removed from the middle of that hurricane. But that eye wall is truly making landfall. Go back to the echo top here. Yeah, and it's making landfall just now, reaching Cameron. So whatever wind gust reported to the Weather Service just moments ago, that'll be different in a big way very soon. Very, very soon. See the storm, it's just kind of wobbling as it lifts to the north. Let's see. Look at a little more model information as it is becoming available as I'm talking to you. I'll pull that up for you next. Take a look at the new wharf. Should be the late run. Is it the late run? Should be. When's that thing coming in? It's not in yet. It's not in. Try that again. Go with right. It doesn't even have the right storm. Oh yeah, it does. All right, here we go. All right, but this is I showed you this at the top of the show, so don't eat. Well, we'll look at it again. It is the latest H wharf. I was hoping the late run would be in by now. I guess it's not going to be. There's the forecasted track. Let's come on in, take a look at the model. There you go. And it holds it pretty steady. It's doing a pretty good job. We're sitting at 938 millibar right now. It has it staying about the same. So what we know is that this is a beast, and what we know is that it's going to be with us for a while. See what the HRRR says about the situation here. I'll go to my other. Oh yeah, it does. It rolls it right on in. Let's see if I can bring that up on the Weather Bell account here. Okay, so this is HRRR's. Okay, new run of the HRRR is in. My browser to operate properly. All right, here we go. RRR, let's go 15-minute intervals. Sorry, that's messed up. Not doing so well. All right. Scratch that. There's that eye wall. You can see it's right there. I mean, it is literally right on the coast. The town of Cameron is about to get blasted. Creole, Grand Cheniere, and Hully Beach. All this area, they remain under tornado warnings, whether they're actually legitimate. They don't know. They just know that, look, it's a landfalling Category 4 hurricane, so we don't mess around and we warn everything. I can't say I blame them for a storm like this. No, not at all. Do what you got to do. Okay, I do have updated wharf here. All right, this is good. All right, this is helpful. Useful information coming down the pipe right now. All right, let's go over to main weather computer and bring that up for you. There we have it. And so basically brings it onshore, and it's right over Lake Calcasieu. I mean, I hate to say it, but Lake Calcasieu, not in a good position. I'm going to go back to the previous run. Oh yeah, it's really moved east. Lake Calcasieu, it's really moved east. Does that make sense with what we're seeing on radar? Go back. So really, it's pushing it east. Question is just how far east? And it's right. That the new models, I think, is right. It's going to bring it right on up Cameron, Lake Calcasieu, and it's going to go right over Lake Charles. And so, again, I'd be just concerned of that eye wall and the storm surge associated with that. All right, so storm is making landfall. It's 12:30. I've been on for a while, and I think I just lost a radar source. I think I did. My radar's mad at me now. That's when you know things are getting bad. All right, one final look at our other radar source, and I think we'll probably bring this broadcast to a close here soon. See what's happening down here. So these, I think these are individual passes, or these buoys. I think these are passes from a reconnaissance flight. In the middle of the storm, they're looking for the lowest pressure is what they're doing. So this is flight information, aircraft pressure, yada yada yada. They're just looking for the lowest pressure is all they're doing. Are they finding it? 697 millibar. Well, that's because they're up there at 2,600 meters. But that's what they're doing. They're looking for the pressure, the lowest pressure reading they can find. And then, so that's what the hurricane hunters do. They fly into these storms. It sounds terribly dangerous, but it's really not. Because they know the way the winds are, so they'll fly into the wind and then into the center of the storm. And of course, in the eye of the storm, it's pretty calm. And from there, they'll take measurements. And based on the height that they're at, they'll interpolate what the pressure is like at sea level. And that's what they turn around and give us. So they're looking for the lowest pressure. That's all they're doing, is they care about that pressure. Because if they know what the lowest pressure is, they have a pretty good idea of the wind it's producing. It's science, baby. So I see is this it right here? 969.5, and again, it's highly dependent on elevation too. There's a 969, at the lowest I can find, which is, I shouldn't say 969, it's 696. I'm thinking in terms of sea level. Anyway, with that, we are going to bring this one down. I'm going to take one other look at that radar. We're going to bring it back up for you one more time. This is our GR Level 2 Analyst, Gibson Ridge product. In Galveston, Lake Charles, all these areas being impacted right now by a Category 4 hurricane. Very rare. A landfalling Category 4 storm. Honestly, you just don't see it very often. It's been a few years, I know that. You take Michael out of the equation from '08 or 18, and it really has been a while. All right, so we're getting our hurricane back up on the other radar. There we go. And eyewall is officially onshore. Eyewall is onshore. And so you can see it bucking north right now. You know, if there was a camera in Cameron, my goodness, what it would be showing right now. See if we got any other live cameras available. We've got a chaser. Should we check in with the chaser? All right, let's do that. This guy's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. He says he's got a camera in Cameron. I think I'm looking at one. I don't know. Let's see what this guy's doing. So he's got a camera up. You can see Cameron. I don't know where he's pulling the source from. There you have it. It's top right. You can't really see. You can hear the pound. You can see everything sideways and vertical. That's the top right hand corner you're looking at. It is what it is. All right, guys. Well, possibly 155 mile per hour winds from drum sound, says Jacob. Jacob, that being released right now from the Hurricane Center. Probably get a better camera angle, but that's all we have right now from that part of Louisiana. Okay, so what else? I'm bringing up the latest from the Hurricane Center. What are they saying? And we had that update as of 11 o'clock. I'm sure they'll have another hourly update here. But I don't think I'm going to be sticking around for that. 150 mile per hour winds, sustained. Pressures at 938. Got some other products they've released. Nothing that's really germane or pertinent. You have a newly updated warning. Nothing that you don't already know. So, all right. Let's see. What is this? No. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. I'm going to go over comments before and one more final look at radar. Again, eyewall is coming onshore. If these guys did not get out of the way, they're not going to be able to get out of the way. Time is over. So that wall of water that we were talking about, it literally is coming onshore now. And it is a little scary to think that you could have that much water coming in from the Atlantic, from the Gulf, but it's coming on and just like that. It's pinwheeling its way onshore, being piled up. Understand, with that much low pressure near that center of the eye, the whole ocean will rise up and will be thrusted and shoved onshore. And so any of those inlets and those areas vulnerable to storm surge flooding, they're getting it now. We likely won't know the extent until morning tomorrow. They'll send out, it'd be probably impossible to get there via car or automobile. So they'll send out reconnaissance aircraft, helicopters and drones, and they'll survey the damage. And what we'll find out is that it was devastating. This is a devastating Category 4 hurricane. And, some of these beachheads are just going to be gone. They just won't exist anymore. They'll have to be rebuilt. Really seeing that eye now pushing inland quick. So it's waited, now it's being thrusted. probably in the middle of an eyewall replacement cycle, and it's just thrusting and it's thrashing its way inland. Jacob's got some information. Jacob, what do we have? Did you get something from Mark Weinberg? You know I used to work with Mark. What is Marcus saying? I'm sure he's tracking this stuff live. Okay, there you go. Drop sound. Hurricane Laura just measured 142 knots. Oh, that's 163 miles per hour. That's a gust, though. Doesn't mean. We may have intensity spike to Cat 5, he says. It's possible. It's possible. It was right there. But I'm not one of these people that like the idea of classifying something the next level higher just because. It needs to be backed up by the science. And so if it's not, what's the point? But Mark, he's an experienced chaser. He's been around the business for a long time. He was in Katrina. He was in Michael. I thought he did a phenomenal job covering those storms as well. So thanks, Jacob, for passing along Marcus's information. Always good to know. I'm going to send out one last, let them know that we're tweeting or live stream. Let's see what that location is. So very close to Cameron, Louisiana. Alright, that is out. It is 12:40, watching the hurricane make landfall right now. We thought it would be after midnight. It is, of course, approaching midnight Central Time. I'm going to watch this for just a few more minutes and see if we get any new information. I know we have an update perhaps coming in from the Hurricane Center. Let me see what they have. I'm going to check my other Twitter feed while we're at it. Of course, you know, this is all the buzz, all anybody's talking about right now as far as weather is concerned. Interesting to note the wobble in the eye structure. What it looked like it was breaking down there for a minute. Let's go back over to Echo Tops. You're also seeing it cycle back. So if there was an eye wall replacement that was happening, it does look like it's regenerating right now as it's coming on shore. That's very difficult. It's very difficult just to know the level of damage or destruction that could be occurring because of this as we speak. Let's see if the Hurricane Center is saying anything right now. I just got a kiss goodnight from the wife. I'm not waiting for you anymore. Okay, anything coming in from NHC? Let's see here. Okay, they have not issued anything new since the top of the hour. Have anything new? All right. All right, there we have it. On the YouTube feed, let's see who we have. Pretty decent little crowd. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind, a quick thumbs up watching. A historically strong landfalling U.S. hurricane. And the only reason that we're not talking about this being the strongest hurricane in a long time is because Michael occurred 2 years ago. Hurricane Michael turned out to be a Category 5 storm, very rare, as it hit portions of the Florida Panhandle. But like this one, that storm intensified very quickly ahead of landfall. This one, I keep hoping I'm seeing like a sign of weakness, but I'm really not. It is maintaining. While there may have been a bit of an eyewall replacement, it may be continuing to occur on the eastern or southeastern side. For all intensive purposes, this thing's coming on shore with full force of what you would expect of a hurricane of this magnitude. Again, here's a look at from our other radar source to kind of give you some perspective. And it's difficult, it's difficult to watch this, not knowing if everybody got out. I mean, I sure hope so. I sure the heck hope so. Getting that buoy information, it's interesting to watch that too. You can see the wind flow, even from kind of from a broad perspective. You got the winds that are rotating around in this counterclockwise fashion. Winds are offshore for Galveston, for Houston. Offshore winds means it's blowing the water away. Of course, with its passage, they'll eventually turn back around out of the west and eventually southwest. Could drag some of that back in. But Lake Charles, you're going to see a direct hit. The concern was that the storm surge could make its way all the way into Lake Charles, and we hope that that Lake Calcasieu doesn't serve as a reservoir to deliver a large quantity of water to Lake Charles, which has a population of about 78,000 people. So obviously that would be a bad deal. All right, Robin on here. Wow, the storm is intense. Prayers for all involved. Thanks for the updates, Jeremy. Good night, friends. Good night to you, Robin. Thank you for being on. Elaine on the Facebook page with the share. Jeremy, thank you so much. Curiosity tonight. You are the best. Well, I appreciate you, and thank you for being here. The eye is huge, says Debbie. It is a very good size eye. Let's see, where's my measuring tool at? Can we measure it? I would estimate that eye, I would say that's probably 20 miles across. Just by eyeballing it, I would say that's a 20-mile wide eye. All right, so Amy Lee Yates, hope everyone on the shore left. Absolutely. James Perry in the house. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We're doing our best to watch this storm as it's making landfall. Thanks for the coverage, Jeremy. It's truly appreciated. Have a good night, everybody. Good night, people. Be safe. Take care. That's coming in from Nana Abraham. Nana, thank you for being here. All right. Well, that kind of gets me up to date with my Facebook friends. Thank you very much again for being here at this point. And look at a few more images together, a few more, radar pictures. But again, we won't really know the extent of the damage until morning. So we'll just hold tight. We hope and we pray for the best. All right, we got our friends on our YouTube channel. Sounds like we have problems with one of our, looks like we had some problems with one of our visitors. Thank you, by the way, very much, Jacob, for taking care. And if he's been a problem, we can just get rid of this guy. Oh, I see. Yeah, let's get rid of him. So I'm just going to remove that guy, and Jacob, thank you. So he should be out of here. Looks like you got a troll. I mean, I don't get it, I'm on here trying to provide a public service utilizing my experience as a meteorologist, using the tools available at my disposal to show you and try to help people that may be in the path of this very, very dangerous storm. And you get these assholes, man. They just come on here and they just want to be filthy. They just, for no reason. I don't know them. They don't know me. But anyway, I digress. So thank you very much, Jacob, for flagging that guy and helping to moderate this. Can't do the stuff alone. You can't do it alone. It takes a team, so I appreciate you guys very much. I guess we have time to maybe take one final check of those cameras. Again, this thing coming on shore. We're going to take you right on into Cameron, Louisiana. The eyewall is making its way. I think we have a shot from Cameron right now. Is this right? Is this real? Cameron, Louisiana. This is Cameron. This is where the eyewall is coming on shore now. We got 6,000 live views of this one image right here. It's hard to tell what we're looking at. We got sideways rain. But it's here where those winds are expected to ratchet up. You see it's in the top right hand corner. It's Cameron, Louisiana. That's where the landfall is being made. Looks like we're getting a report, gust of up to 78 miles per hour. That was out of Johnson Bayou, Louisiana. Looks like the rain and wind is picking up in Lake Charles. You can see that at the top of the screen. There's a guy outside. Is he in a parking lot or is he on a roof? It kind of looks like that's he's on top of a parking garage. That's what it is. He's running to his car. That's interesting. Alright, let's go on over to another view. There's Galveston. And on the back side of the storm, they're not even seeing much rain. Galveston's not even seeing much rain right now. See, Galveston's completely on the other side of the storm. It's over here. But that eye wall, there it is, guys. The worst of the weather occurring now. Approaching Cameron, maybe just to the east of Cameron. That's pretty tough to watch, but we know in the morning that there's going to be some problems. So let's take you back out to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Get a picture from there. And
everything she said is right on the money. We were talking about restoration just a little while ago.
Oh, there's a conversation going on. I don't know what they're talking about, so we're just going to jump out of that. But that's the way it looks at Lake Charles right now. Good deal, Jacob. Thank you. Good night, Don Luzecki. And we will see you Saturday, my friend. Ben Benjamin, I appreciate your style. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Ben. Unless the camera is wireless on a UPS, I would not expect to get Cameron to last. I think you're right. I don't think Cameron, the Cameron cam, if you will, I don't think it's going to be up very long. So let's finish up. Maybe just a couple more sweeps of radar. It's 12:53. We're going to stay on until the 1 a.m. Eastern update, the midnight update for Central Time. And let's see what's going on. The camera may have frozen up on us. Okay, no, we've got movement again. Turn the volume on. Oh, no, now it's black. Hard to tell. Oh man, they are getting blasted then. Here's a look at it from our other radar source. Hurricane Center should be releasing new information very soon. We will hold on for that midnight Central Time, 1 a.m. update. As of right now, the latest information we have, 150 mile per hour winds, 938 pressure. Again, they've been running the Air Force reconnaissance plane in and out continuously, looking for the lowest pressure. There you go. You can see the latest ones right there. All right, let's see what we got. What do we have here? That's a 697, 698, 697. We had a 696 earlier. There's a 696. So they're traveling with the storm. We were explaining how it's actually not that dangerous to fly in a hurricane. And I know it sounds crazy, but these guys, they really know what they're doing. And keep in mind, in a hurricane, as opposed to thunderstorms, hurricanes, so much of the wind is linear. It's so linear that you just fly into the headwind. Unlike what you would get oftentimes with thunderstorms, when you have a choppiness, updraft, downdraft, updraft. I mean, you do get some updrafts and downdrafts, but once you get especially to that core, it's almost all linear wind shear. It's all around that main pivot of rotation, and it allows them to fly in and out of it. So that's interesting. That eyewall continues to make its way on shore. It's a gradual process. They are going to continue to just get hammered from Creole to Cameron to Holly Beach over the next hour or two. It's going to be a process. It's 12:56. I'm waiting for the last update from the Hurricane Center before we let this one go. I've got a few people on both Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate you guys being here. If you don't mind a quick like and share, as always, it is appreciated. Thanks, Amy Lee Yates on Facebook. Yeah, there's always one in every crowd. Yeah, you bet. That's coming from Breland Joyce. Thank you for being live. I have a ton of family in Louisiana. Prayers for all writing it out. Good night to you, Elaine. Okay. Amy Howard on. in the live videos, where was that on the middle or bottom row you could see well on a street? I can bring that live feed back up since we're all here together. All right, let's go back over to it. And that was in, it looks like Port Arthur, Texas. Let's bring up Port Arthur. All right, here we go. Port Arthur, Texas. Take a look. Oh no, we've moved back to Cameron. Cameron, Louisiana. It's in the eyewall. I don't have much sound. Here we go. Sound is up. Video is not doing much. The other shot that you were talking about is Port Arthur, Texas, I think, right here. That middle camera there. Yeah, that's Port Arthur. That's Lake Charles, top right. Again, Cameron is where the eyewall is coming on shore now. We've still got a shot. That's encouraging. So it looks like there's two Port Arthurs. That's the bottom left two. And Johnson Bayou, I'm not exactly sure where that's at. Johnson Bayou. Unincorporated parish. Not a whole lot there. But it's just east of Port Arthur. There you go. Look at that wind whipping now, huh? Yeah, it's kind of it's difficult to discern what exactly is taking place there in Cameron. Cameron, Louisiana. Yeah, but it's nasty. Oh boy, that is a nasty, nasty storm. All right, there we have it. It is 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. I'm waiting for the last update from the Hurricane Center. That information should be coming in now. Let's see what we have. So intermediate advisory is in, update is up. What do we have? All right, as of 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight Central Time, northern eyewall of Laura is moving over Cameron Parish. We knew that. Catastrophic storm surge, extreme winds and flash flooding occurring in southwestern Louisiana. The eyewall of Laura is moving onshore. Take cover now. Well, hopefully they already did. Treat these imminent extreme winds as if a tornado was approaching and move immediately to the safe room in your shelter. Take action now to protect your life. The safest place to be during a major landfalling hurricane is in a reinforced interior room away from windows. Get under a table or other place of sturdy furniture. Use mattresses, blankets, or pillows to cover your head and body. Remain in place through the passage of these life-threatening conditions. Talking about current wind gusts. In Cameron, we just got a gust of 110 miles per hour. All right, I'm going to pass this along to our friends on the tweeter. We just had a wind gust of 93 miles per hour, also located near Cameron. Calcasieu, a wind gust of 90. The storm is currently located 40 miles south of Lake Charles. It's within range. 45 miles to the southeast of Port Arthur. So you're talking about a storm that continues to move to the north-northwest at 15. The eye will cross over Lake Charles in about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, it will cross over Lake Charles. Barometric pressure steady at 938. I don't think this is going to get upgraded to a 5. This is it. It's steady though. It's a strong 4. But I think this is what it is. So I want to send out a tweet. Alright, that is out. Alright, so the storm is, it is as advertised. It's maintained strength for several hours. I would be very surprised if, again, we don't see utter devastation in these areas. Fortunately, it's the worst of it should be confined to these small villas and towns on the immediate southwest Louisiana coast.